She is the founder and CEO of Charmy Mind Management. Basically, she's a host of Straight Talk podcast and advisor of Safe Space Talks. She's a certified life coach with an emphasis on helping individuals who suffer trauma find stability in their minds. She has an upcoming book, 8 Steps to Mental Wealth. It's available on pre-order. But, what I want to do is I want to open the floor to Dr. Pratt and have her talk a little bit more about what she does, especially nowadays when mental health is actually more prevalent than ever. Dr. Pratt, welcome to the show.
Hey.
I'm glad you're here. Tell us a little bit more about you and what you do.
Oh, great. Hey, everyone. Again, I am Charmy Pratt. I am a mental health advocate. As he said, I am the CEO of Charmy's Mind Management School, where the focus is on helping individuals to stabilize their mindsets. What I do now is a series of coaching services via either in person or via Zoom, where I actually just help individuals to understand how to deal with things like triggers, how to cope with anxiety, and even ways on how to just meditate, not to allow just the dynamics of everyday life to just overwhelm them. One of the things that I love doing is sitting with individuals like from CEOs to business owners, your everyday mom, even those that are teachers, just different individuals. So my range of people are a variety of individuals that I just actually help to coach and to really understand life, especially in mental health. Mental health now is more prevalent than it has ever been, actually. And I believe that when COVID happened, it just brought a lot out when it came to people really understanding how serious mental health is. And so that's really one of the things that I find myself doing nowadays. It's just helping people to stabilize.
Wow. All right. Take us through it. You know what? I've treated God knows how many patients with mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
I've never met a life coach that specialized in treating people by helping to stabilize their minds. I know there's, all types of behavioral therapy. If they ever ask you a question on any exam, what's the first treatment, for, some of these patients, or for most patients, the answer is always behavioral modification, behavioral therapy. It's one of those things that I never want to say always, but that seems to always be the correct answer. But now the funny thing is that, man, you can't find anybody, that offers that type of service. Gone are the days for the couch therapy, so to speak. And now here you are today saying, hey, I'm bringing it back. Your couch is in your home.
Yes.
Take us through it. And it's interesting.
So basically, a time spent with me will be where I begin to just evaluate where you are, like what is going on in your life, what is going on with you as the individual, basically helping you to even understand that, because a lot of people don't even understand why they even deal with mental issues. Let's just be real. Some people, I could just say for myself, because I was a person that dealt with schizophrenia, to be exact. And so just from being an individual who actually battled with schizophrenia and being told that, hey, this is just it for you. This is how you're going to be for the rest of your life. But of course, they were proven wrong, right? I've been mentally stable for over 22 years now. And being able to just help people to even understand that a lot of what they have dealt with, there is a root cause, right? And so what I began to do is help people to see where is that root, what's going on the inside of you that may be even causing those particular responses that you may be giving out at the moment. to me, everything has a root issue. A lot of times, even when you go to doctors, a lot of doctors not going to deal with your root. They're going to deal with your symptoms. And so therefore, if you're dealing with my symptoms, but there is something that's going on still on the inside of me, it's no different than when you get a cold. Well, you're not actually, when you go get some medicine from, just say, the drugstore, you're going to get medicine based on the symptoms that you are experiencing. And that's what many people do with mental health. They deal with what they can say is going on with the individual. But what I do, let's get to the root issue. Why are you feeling that way? Where did that come from? And so with anything, for me, if you can deal with the root, you can hit it at the root, you can tear it down. And that's not everybody's belief system, right? And so what I began to do is reframe the belief system to help people to understand that you are what you believe, right? Just like when they told me that you're going to be this way for the duration of your life. So here's the thing. We're going to send you to a psychiatrist, which I went to. We're going to put you on medication, which I did. We're going to do all these things, but just know that this is just your life until you die. But I found out something different. And because I was able to just find out that there was a difference besides what they were telling me, that something triggered even that particular mindset, or even those voices in my case, something triggered that. So let's get to the root of what's triggering me hearing voices. That is just, what was the root of that? I saw being an individual that actually God has allowed to just be able to understand those barriers and those dynamics. That's what I do. I begin to go in and I begin to deal with root issues, right? Everybody's not trying to deal with people's roots. Everybody say, okay, this is your symptom. Let's deal with your symptom, right? But guess what? If I can deal with the root, I can help you that even if the symptom tried to come back up, I can begin to help you to navigate that symptom and retrain it. Therefore, you don't have to experience it. And I know it's a proven effect because, like I said, I walked through it myself.
Wow. One of the symptoms for most mental health issues is lack of insight to your problem. Whether it be depression, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, these are some of the common issues that, you hear people with that, I guess, that sign on their chest. I have anxiety, I have depression, bipolar disorder, or, schizophrenia. Those are pretty much the mood disorders. Those are the most common diagnoses that you see that are given by someone's physician. Now, so lack of insight, meaning understanding what's going on. And you're absolutely right. One of the things is when people come in, you're basically looking for those bullet points to say, okay, this is where you fit in. Mm-hmm. All right. Whether it be, 7 or 9 symptoms associated with schizophrenia, 5 or 6, or, anywhere from 5 to 7 for major depression or bipolar disorder, so these things you look for and say, okay, I got my checklist going. All right. And when you see them and say, okay, yeah, so you treat the positive symptoms, and you're absolutely right. You treat the positive symptoms, which are the voices, or auditory or visual, hallucinations. You treat those because basically you really want to, you think that we think we're benefiting people by quieting those down. But a lot of times we put people into almost a comatose or catatonic state from those medications where yes. I don't see them getting better. It's funny. I remember my rotations, and the rotations in the old psychiatric wards where, you would watch the people do what we would call the Haldol March, where they would just walk for hours continuously back and forth and back and forth. And I'm like, well, how is this therapeutic? And then you come in and you just see the people, they're just walking, and their affect which is their facial expression. They're just staring, and they walk to one wall, they walk back to the next wall. And I actually see, they'll do this from the time you get there in the morning all the way through lunch. And after lunch and being medicated again, they're back there again till dinner and again until bedtime. And, I'm like, how is this treatment effective for people, you know. And when the you know, and then you started seeing a lot of inpatient centers closing or outpatient centers closing. I said, okay, now what do you do with people? Now where do they march, so to speak, when you put them on these, you know, benzodiazepines? You know, so now you're outdoors and you're actually seeing people with the blunted affects, the blank stares, you know. And the problem that we've always had in medicine is that, well, there's nobody. I mean, I can bring people into the office and talk and listen and allow people to express themselves to try to get to the underlying cause. But now the thing is that the reason why we don't have this issue, or we're unable to do this type of treatment, is that it's no longer covered. You know, and that's the issue that most psychiatrists have, is that as long as it's medically based, meaning I can give a prescription for it, I can be compensated for it, you know, in the medical field. Now, social workers, behavioral therapists, you know, life coaches, you know, I'm not sure how you all are able to get around that, you know, these days, because it's, you know, as the HMO system, well, it's already very much entrenched, and they're just digging in deeper. You know, how does a patient, you know, that has a job or on managed care or Medicare living at home come out and say, you know, I need some help, but I can't afford it. How do I pay for this? You know, because I mean, if the treatment is behavioral therapy, if that's what they all keep telling us, behavioral therapy, that's the treatment of choice, you know, and why am I prescribing SSRIs and tricyclics and, you know, mood stabilizers if the treatment of choice is behavioral therapy? Well, how do we get to people that can help you?
Well, I think when you said something key when you actually said that as the people are given these particular medications or whatnot, right? But it's behavior therapy that's really needed. But for the most part of it, if I give you the medication, then let's treat the symptoms. And so a lot of, again, going back to what I previously said, a lot of people, well, you know, now I'm not going to say every doctor out there, every person, but a lot of people, they want to treat your symptoms. And like you said, in treating the symptoms, it's major money in it for me. It's major money in it for the pharmaceutical company, you know, the government. You come on now. And so if I can keep medicating you and telling you, well, this is the best that can happen, because Lord forbid if you get healed for real and you no longer need this, then what is that going to do with, like you said, the medication side of it, right? What is it going to do to that whole economy of those that are providing the different drugs that are needed, right? A lot of things will have to be shut down, right? Because people are being made whole like they should be. And so when you're talking about even how do individuals come and they get to a place where hey, I need to see somebody that's going to actually treat this particular thing for me. And then I think something like that, you will have to really take it a little further, even with like the doctors and different things, because if the doctors are getting paid, right, and they getting paid buku money just for saying, hey, Charmy is diagnosed with, like when I was diagnosed, it was schizophrenia. They diagnosed me with bulimia. They diagnosed me with depression, and I had the panic attack. So I'm diagnosed with all this stuff at one time. So can you imagine how much I had to go see the doctor? Can you imagine the medication that I was on? Come on, I'm keeping money in their pocket. And it's not that thing where I want Charmy to really be made whole, because when I went in, that was the one thing they said. This was how you will be for the duration of your life. We're going to teach you how to cope with your symptoms. We're not going to teach you how to become whole from it, because in that particular realm, they told me, I can just say what they told me, and even individuals that I've known who have walked through those things. This is your duration. This is how life is going to be for you. So what we can do, we can keep you on the medication. We can keep you going to see your psychiatrist and going to the doctors. And we're going to keep you in this space. So get used to it. Now, if you create that as my belief system, then what you think going to happen? I'm going to get used to, so I become even what you told me that I was going to become. And so when you're thinking about that, the system is just not created, even for individuals who may want that, right? Because even to get to me, okay, so there are some people that I will sit down and counsel for free, right? Especially if I know that you really need it, or you are an individual that you really want it, right? I'm not going to say that I do that for everybody, because it's a business, right? It's a business. And I know what I do, it works if you work it. When I was going through my process, I had to go through my process. It was not something that just transpired for me automatically. There were things that I have to do. Like, for one, are you ready to deal with your diet? I had to deal with how I was eating. Sugar was a major component that I had to get rid of. So that water was something that I had to drink much of. And so there was many things that I myself had to do, natural, holistic things that are in the earth already to heal us. There was things that I had to even do myself in order to even just receive the healing, right, that was already waiting for me. But I had to participate. And so if I personally know that an individual is willing to participate in their healing, and I sit down and I talk with them and I do my consultation, then at that moment, then I'm like, hey, Charmy, I want it, but I can't afford it. Okay, fine. Well, let's see. But again, that's not every case, right? Even if you say, well, hey, it's $5, because for most people, like for me, I can't speak for everybody else, but to sit down with me, that's because I want to see you whole. So it's not always about the dollar for me, because I know that I had individuals to really labor with me when I was going through my process, right? And so for me personally, when you talk about how can people get around it with all the different things that are happening, even with, like you said, Medicaid, the HMO, the Medicare, all of these particular things, then I will say, from that standpoint, because of where we are in the world right now, there will be some decisions that will have to be made in high places. But that means there will also have to be some people that's willing, to invest their time and energy for those decisions to be made. So that's how I would say that.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. It just sheds more light on the issues in general, what you were, that the barriers, so to speak, in receiving treatment for, this problem. I mean, there are more people with mental health issues than, than basic medical issues like high blood pressure or diabetes, which, seem to be more common. But the reality of it is people with anxiety and depression, are leading the way. The issue at hand is, once again, there's an access barrier point. Okay. Now, what I am familiar with, is that's an interesting field that you have there, being a coach and help and counseling and working with people. Is now, do you work with an MD, or you?
No, okay. I'm solo, but I do have individuals that are around me that I kind of talk to and go. I know a psychiatric nurse practitioner. I have some friends who are psychologists and different things like that. We bounce off each other and different things. But no, I work solo.
You work solo. I know one of the things I had done in the past is that I had put people together, so to speak. All right. See, for me, it's easy because all I have to do is really just write a prescription. All right. I mean, I don't know, nothing for me to do. Okay. You still have this, you still have that. Nothing's changed. Yeah. And for me, I mean, the biggest questions from a physician standpoint was asking them whether they were homicidal or suicidal. Right. And being able to say, okay, they're not good. Let's continue treatment. Okay. And outside of, the other basic components of the interview, but the reality of it is I offered nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I can say that I really offered no services except for refilling prescriptions and making certain of stability. And if I saw anything where I felt as though the individual was not safe to themselves or it presented safety issues to the community at large, then I would have to hospitalize. So the scope of my services, until you begin to understand the issue, like you say, get to the root problem, are basically limited. Okay, because of time constraints, reimbursement issues, etc. But if you can bring on a clinical social worker, a psychotherapist, a psychologist, a life coach now, and give them space. All right. So when people come, I'd like you to spend time with Miss Charmy. All right. Okay. Begin to work out your issues on a one-to-one basis with someone that you can talk with. And then afterwards say, okay, all right, my job then is to say, okay, communicate with my extenders, which would be life coaches, things like that, and just say, okay, how is Miss Smith, Mr. Jones doing? All right, they're doing the same, they're working with their issues, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, we'll continue the medications. All right. And as a team approach, you basically say, all right, I want to know when it's safe to begin titrating down or titrating up, because sometimes you got to go in either direction, and this is the proper way to handle it. And the reason why and then when you do that, okay, then you have your documentation, and you can actually get a non-covered service covered under the position. All right, the reimbursements are, were anywhere from $35 to $75 for a half-hour visit, so to speak. So, at that point, you have to put, your extenders on your payroll, et cetera. And that's how you would handle it. I handled it the same way in schools, the same way in the office, and other places in the community. When you deal with veterans, you have to handle it the same way with veterans, because these are all people, and you already see it in the news. There's nothing you don't have to look for it. Right. We got more mass shootings than days in this country this year. Okay. From just teenagers or people that just cannot cope anymore. Yeah. So they're lashing out, and people are like, why is this happening? Why? Because we're not paying attention. That's the reality. We're not paying attention. That's the first thing. And the second thing is they don't know who to call. You needed help, right? Yeah. Yeah. At one point, everybody in their life needs help. Exactly. And if you don't know who to call, what are you going to do? Right. You're going to suffer in silence. That's what you're going to do, right? Until you can't take it anymore. Right. And then you lose people because we're not paying attention. And that's the reality of it, and, what you're doing is beautiful. Yeah. All right. But the thing is that, where are you located? I'm in Dallas. I'm in Dallas, Texas. So I am in Dallas. Okay, I am in Texas. I should have picked up on the accent. My producer said Baltimore. I said, that's not a Baltimore accent. But yeah, I'm in Dallas, Texas. But here's the deal. I don't just deal with individuals in my state. I deal with people even out the country. Right. Like seriously, because we have the Zoom and I'm able to get on Zoom and you're able to just communicate. And this is why I even wrote my book, 8 Steps to Mental Wealth.
In that particular book, I give clear steps for even those that cannot afford to even go to a therapist, or even this book, 8 Steps to Mental Wealth. It really gives you tools. And right now it is published. It was in pre-order mode for a minute, but it's actually on Amazon and Lulu and different places, Google, all of those particular outlets. And it's in an ebook, or you can get the printed copy. But one of the things that I do even with my book is give clear steps on even things like how to understand even how the mind is operating, how to understand your triggers, things that may be triggering you. What is the conscious and the subconscious mind really about? And so these are clear steps that I even give in my book, 8 Steps to Mental Wealth, on how people can really come to a place where they can understand. Because again, I'm a firm believer, you can't cure what you don't know. You can't. You can't cure something that you don't even know is the issue for yourself. And so if you don't even understand what you're fighting against, how are you really fighting? That's the key question.
You're not. And you did, like I said, you're just suffering. And I see people every day, I'm not talking about in an office setting. I'm talking about just commuting, being out and about, okay, supermarket, wherever you go in your day-to-day travels, by being having a clinical history, being able to, I can look at people and say, okay, all right, this person is in need of some help.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can see it. You can see by the way they've dressed themselves or half dressed themselves. I mean, you can see their affect, and they look a little rough out here this morning, I say, okay, that's the first thing you're going to see when people come. You see their affect. Do they look happy, sad, angry, or are they expressionless?
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, okay, look, you see it. And I can see it as a trained professional. I can see it because I was trained to do that. But now I don't have to be a trained professional to see these people do it. All right. You can be around somebody and say, hey, all right. Right. I mean, even long before I said some, your hair stand up on the back of your neck when you say, something not right with this person, right?
Yeah, true.
So, the thing is that what needs to happen, like you have your book on Amazon, okay, is that people need to be able to find you.
Yes.
And that's really it in a nutshell. People really need to be able to find you because, I mean, there are just, we can point problem after problem after problem, but where's the solutions? The powers that be, okay, are not offering solutions. You mentioned that, all right, because the basis of their decision making is all economic.
Right.
It's not people. All right. So now, we have to find a way to say, okay, people, yes, people have to survive. All right. People have to eat, but we can find a way to help you. If you just need someone to talk to, if you're not feeling like yourself, if you just feel like you're in a fog, if you're always crying, if you can't find enjoyment in life, nothing in life makes you happy. You're always angry. If you feel like you're hearing someone talk to you, or if you're actually seeing people that are, hey, and if you're experiencing any of these types of issues, say, hey, we got people that you can talk to that can help you. The vets are probably the people in need of more service than you could imagine. I mean, I've come across so many of them that are suffering from post-traumatic stress.
Yeah.
That is, which encompasses 3 or 4 different individual mental health issues. And I mean, rightfully so. I mean, look what they've been through.
Yeah.
But the thing is that, post-traumatic stress disorder isn't necessarily theirs exclusively, because everyday people
go to PTSD. Yes.
all right, you get robbed, you get assaulted.
Yeah.
Any type of assault, you're being mistreated, whether you're in a bad marriage, bad relationship, all that affects what's going on up here.
Yes, it does.
So, you don't have to be in a foreign country getting blown up or being shot at. You can be right here in your neighborhood getting shot at, or being abused by someone, And I'm saying this because I want people to identify and understand and say, oh, you know what? I am going through something like that. You mean there are people that can help me with my problems?
Right.
A lot of times people just don't get it, and I need people to know how to reach you.
Yeah.
All right. And that's the thing. What's good about these types of things that we do is that every now and then I constantly rerun programs.
Okay.
And I want people to see you and say, let me call her. All right. And let me just talk, because that's, just us communicating and having a conversation. Really, if we don't give the information to those that need it, then we basically are part of the problem, not part of the solution.
That's true.
And I really want people to be able to say, hey, you know what? I saw this person on this podcast and I got to try to talk to her, and I don't, there are programs for you, if you don't know, where you can actually contact Veterans Affairs and say, hey, I offer this service. You'd be surprised the doors that'll open up for you, because one of the things that they need more than anything is someone to come in and talk to their people.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah.
That is, and you're in Texas. God, there are about 20 bases in Texas.
Yeah.
But I tell you that, working with them for a lot of years, I would get people to come see me I was in New York. People would travel from Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Maine, just to come see me in Brooklyn about their issue. I was like, why is the military sending people from Virginia to see me in New York? They don't have anybody in Virginia. They got to cross 3 or 4 state lines to get to me. And that just gives you an idea of the limited scopes of service places have, and not just there, in your own neighborhood. There's no time when you come into your office in the morning from a physician's perspective. You look in your office, you got 30 people in the waiting area. All right. If you're renting by the session, you got 4 hours to see 30 people, where you got to pay more money. Okay. This is crazy. If you have your own office, you say, okay, I got to get these 30 people out of here so I can get home at a decent hour. So you try to schedule your appointments in 15-minute segments. All right. I know you can't get to the root of problems in 15 minutes. It takes 15 minutes for people just to say, hi, my name is Jim.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And so, what? One of the things we do also is on Wednesday, and this is free. It's on YouTube. It'll be on Facebook. We do our safe space talks where we deal with issues, because people really do perish for just the know-how or the lack of knowledge. They really do. And so when you don't know something, then you don't know how to, you can't conquer again what you don't know. So you have to be able to, even like you said, identify certain things. And that's what we do. We are a safe space on Wednesdays, right?
Oh.
Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time.
What is a safe space?
Safe space talk. So we just come on like this is a safe space where we have conversation. And so we have the doctor, Heather, the psychologist, we have the nurse, the psychiatric nurse on. We have someone else, myself, and we sit and we discuss, right? We have discussion, right? So we have Nigeria. So all of us to come on and we discuss things and we bring other individuals in so we can sit and talk, because people, like you say, people are hurting. People want solutions. People don't just necessarily want to deal with problems all the time. The world is full of problems. So we look for solutions.
Can common people or patients participate in safe space?
Common people, patients, anybody. Anybody is welcome to participate in safe space, right? Because that's what it is. And then we also, like I said, like you asked a question, like how can people, maybe talk to a behavioral therapist? Well, in our group, we do offer where those of us that are licensed, they do offer their services for like $30. You know what I'm saying? Or something really minimum, just to come in if you do it part of safe space. But again, there are tools. We have tools, like just even for the everyday person, like for the CEO, for the business person, for different individuals that are out there. Like you said, those that are dealing with people may get robbed. Just, there are people suffering for so many different things, right? And because people are suffering, there are solutions, but not everybody understand or even know where can I go and get a solution. Well, you can get a solution with Dr. Charmy Pratt, okay? I can give you solutions, okay? Seriously. And so people have to know that. And so even going to my website, so you say, how do they get in touch with me? I have a website, charmypratt.com. You can go to charmypratt.com. You can go to my social medias. My social media handles are all Charmy L. Pratt. They're my first and last name. You're going to be able to
spell me for people.
So it's SHARMEE. Then my PRAT, Pratt is my last name. So charmypratt.com. Two T's.
Okay.
So PRATT Pratt.com. That's my website. Or my social media handles is the same, but it's just Charmy, then an L in the middle, then Pratt at the end. And just get in touch with me. Hey, I make myself available because you said people need help. People need solutions, and they need to know that people are willing to help them, right? We want to help. Because like you said, the mind is so impressionable. It's so impressionable. And anything, everyday life gets to our minds. So how do we handle that? And my book, again, 8 Steps to Mental Wealth. Those is proven tools in that book. Proven tools. I give you proven strategies. These are just not strategies. They're proven because I walk through them. And I'm sitting here saying today from these proven steps.
Mm-hmm. It's awesome. I'm listening. I'm like, wow, now, okay, so we actually have someone that can say, okay, reach out to me. Let me help. From a practitioner side, I feel some kind of way. It actually makes me feel it's hurtful to see what the world is going through now. Young kids hurting each other, people, these mass shootings, because that's really, unfortunately, that's the last stop, so to speak, when people have decided to take their own life or take the lives of others. Yeah. It's really nothing beyond that point. That's the worst positive sign associated with mental health. The thing, and unfortunately, a lot of people don't receive really any treatment after that point. I see things like that. I'm like, wow, I can help people. you can help these people, and once again, I said, you know what, the system that's in place that sees this, you're surrounded by thousands of schools. All right. When we were growing up, our schools had social workers in them. I don't even know what you used to call them. I don't know if they were always social workers. They had another name, but it was always somebody you could go sit down and just, school counselors. They were counselors.
They were the counselors.
The counselors, that's what they were called. Wow, we could remember that name, right? You could always, people that had issues could just go sit with the school counselor and just talk.
Yeah.
Sometimes the school counselor was like, hey, how you doing? Walking home, hey, how you doing today? You know? And the budgets have taken a lot of these people out of the schools, and they were always your friendly face, your smiling face, and somebody just want to just hear what you have to say when you're just going through it, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, wow, all these schools in place, this wonderful service that you offer, they need to take you and your colleagues and just transplant you in these places, because I'm sorry to say the majority of these mass things that are taking place in schools. And it's hurtful to see young people. Listen, we were young. There's not really much different that they're going through than we went through, but they need to be taught coping skills. We used to have classes like home economics and other things that taught you what? Basic coping skills.
Cope with life. Life skills.
Life skills. And hey, how do you deal with people? You mentioned COVID. COVID was just the spark that ignited a sleeping giant. It woke it up.
That's it.
And it's not going to end. It's snowballing. Snowballing. All right. You take a situation where people may have found therapeutic to be around others and be able to talk to other people. Now you've isolated them. They don't have anyone to talk to. And now all of a sudden it's like now their symptoms have become full blown and they're manifesting. And I mean, office spaces, schools, workspaces. I treated people after 9/11. I remember there was a young lady, she was a CEO of one of the big investment firms. Her whole office was just traumatized. And what helped them get through the day is that they took turns staring out of the window.
Wow.
So they took turns, 1 hour shifts, staring at the window, making sure nothing is coming. And I'm like, no. It gave them comfort. I mean, unfortunately, their firm after a period of time it shut down. But this is what people do. People are their therapeutic actions are a lot of times, either a temporary fix, the doctor's medications, you got tolerance. I'm not taking it. Copay for Zoloft is $85. I'm not taking that. Copay for Paxil is $91. I'm not taking that. It's covered by my plan. The one you give me, I got numbness and tingling, headaches, blurry vision. I got shakes and tremors. Taking this medication. All I do is sleep. I mean, I've heard it. But now, what you've given us today is an option. And you've given us a wonderful option. But the funny thing is, it's not a new option. It's just
not new.
It's not new. I'm like, I mean, it's been so refreshing. It's like, where's she been? She's in Texas, you know. So in reality, there should be nothing but happy people in Texas.
I just moved to Texas. I'm from St. Louis, you guys. I just moved
all the
here.
people in St. Louis are missing you. Missing your services. But it's this is what I mean. This is something that people need. And I tell you, I said, you take a look at the I can always remember the exam questions, and they give you the choice of medications, and somewhere in the middle, behavioral therapy. And it's like, it's got to be one of these drugs. Which one is the best drug? It can't be behavioral therapy. But always right. Behavioral therapy, lifestyle modifications, behavior. You mentioned diet, lifestyle modifications, behavioral therapy, retraining the mind.
Retrain your mind.
Retraining the mind. And if you can do these things, all right, then wow, you can change the world. And the thing is that reach out. I think a lot of people just really need to hear your story. And really need to hear what you have to offer them.
Yeah.
I mean, once people, I'm sure that people, once they meet you, they'll be happy to talk with you. So many young people out here. I'm just, I'm like, wow, it's almost overwhelming, and it's like, wow, how do we find help for these people? I mean, I was 16. I never thought about buying a Uzi or an AK-47 and running into the school and shooting people that I love, because I really enjoyed the people I went to school with. I really enjoyed. The last thing from my mind would be to hurt them. And I remember there was one person when I went to school that committed suicide, and that basically broke the heart of everyone in the class. One gentleman I know that unfortunately passed away. Actually, a couple of gentlemen I know that passed away from DWI. I mean, broke the heart of everyone. So where is the outlier? If you're in a school and everybody's mixing and they're doing things with one another, where's that person that's isolated? We were all picked on. I was picked on. We were all picked on. All right. But where's that outlier, that the person that just sitting in the corner?
Yeah.
And nobody's saying, hey man, are you okay?
Yeah.
And I mean, like I said, our teachers aren't paying attention. Our principals aren't paying attention.
Well, because you got to understand, many of them are dealing with the same with needing to retrain their own mind. I mean, let's just be truthful about it.
Well, listen, everyone suffers from real life syndrome. Nobody's life is perfect.
That's it.
But once again, some people just have better coping skills. Some people just do. I remember training, and I tell people this all the time. I said, the dean said, listen, there are going to be bad days for you because we're just going to be just pounding lots of information. There are going to be some days you're going to feel as though it's just overwhelming.
And
he says, and when you feel these days, he says, when you experience days like this, he says, close your books, put it down, and go to the movies.
Yeah.
I said, wow, I saw a lot of movies. Okay. I saw a lot of movies. I was like, wow, but the one thing that it does is it distracts you.
Yeah.
Your racing thoughts.
Yes.
The flight of ideas, the inability to concentrate, all these symptoms that are associated with mental illness. People that have issues with trying to sleep. I can't sleep. I said, turn the TV on at night, watch some TV. All right. I said, the first thing that happens if you have issues with just trying to turn your brain off at night, put a movie. The fatigue will set in. It'll ultimately be watching you.
Read a book.
Read a book. That's the worst, you know.
Put you right to bed.
And, you know, I can read the same sentence 200 times. Did I just read this? You know. You know, and I mean, those are things that yes. Sometimes you have to practice, like you say, things to help turn it off at night. And one of the things that people used to always tell me is that I can't seem to turn my brain off.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, I hear that a lot, and I teach people how to turn it off, like you just said.
Turn it off. Yeah.
Let's turn it off.
It's like I can't turn it off. And I was like, wow. And you know, before they met you, you know, just imagine what they were going through. I mean, just they're laying there and their brain is like going through things a lot. Usually, you're not resting.
Yeah, not at all.
You're not, you know, all of a sudden you think you're resting and you look and the alarm goes off. You're like, did I sleep?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Did I sleep? I mean, you're like, wow, I don't even remember sleeping.
Right.
I mean, we all hear that, you know. You know, we laugh. You know, so I said, I've been there. I can remember some nights, but I don't remember sleeping. You know, you're studying and cramming for exams. Students, you're up all night and you fall asleep, but it seems like your brain is still studying while you're sleeping. But either way, you know, people that come to see you, you know, I've had this conversation with a gentleman that called me once before, or they call you on the internet or reach out to you, you know, so distrusting of providers. You know, how do you approach people like that? Because, you know, a lot of people don't want to reveal their innermost issues.
True.
You know, so now you have take the floor and say, you know what, and tell us, maybe even if you have to tell us about somebody you treated, and just say, you know what, how do you reach people that sometimes are not reachable?
Well, when you think about, first of all, you have to build trust with people. That would be the number one. You have to, you cannot go in. My technique is not just going in trying to get in your business. I go in, you got to make people feel safe, like they can even communicate with you. So I'm not just going in, okay, so tell me what's wrong with you. No, how was your day? How you doing? What you do today? So you got to get into their world. People don't want to get into your world. I get in your world, right? Because if I can get in your world, then you can become comfortable enough to release to me the things that are going on the inside of you. And so that's one of the techniques.
Yeah. I laugh because, I mean, when you go to the doctor, first thing they want to do is touch you. Right? They'll put their hands on you. I don't know you. Right? I mean, talk to me first. Get to know me. Understand me a little bit. Then I'll allow you to put your hands and touch me and try to understand what my problem is.
Yeah.
You know, and if I come in and I'm talking to you about something I'm thinking about, all right, I don't need you to listen to my heart today. I need you to do what? Listen to me.
That's it.
You know, and that's the thing. And, you know, and I think the personal approach is actually always the best approach. And I think you got it. I think, you know, like I said, you know, SharmyPratt.com, Sharmy L. Pratt, you know, get all that information out. I'm just hoping that a lot of people really took the time to listen to you today and listen to what you have to say.
Yes.
Realize that the service that you're offering, all right, is a unique service. Believe it or not, it's a unique service because it's not something that's offered readily.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, because
Yeah.
you know, you first of all, as a provider, you have to go out, find someone that you're comfortable with, bring them in, and make
Mhm.
people comfortable with them. You know, I think psychiatry is an underrepresented field.
Mhm.
Psychology, behavioral therapy, all those are underneath that umbrella of behavioral health. You know, and in order for people, and this if there's anything that legislation needs to hear, is that the behavioral health umbrella encompasses so many different components. All right. If the rate limiting step or the obstacle is compensation, then reevaluate what needs to be done so it can be a team approach to helping people that are really ill. Okay. Really ill, really ill. You know, heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, those are issues that affect what? An individual.
Yeah.
Mental health issues, as you can already see, not only affect the individual, but they can ultimately affect lots of other people. These
Yeah.
people, in my opinion, are what? Really ill. And the thing is, if you do it right, like yourself, I can't cure any medical problem. I can treat it.
Yeah.
I can't cure it. Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Mhm.
I can give a pill for anything, but I don't fix problem. Here, with the right types of services, the right types of guidance, I actually have an opportunity as a provider to help you get through this difficult time in your life and allow you to do what? Lead a normal life.
Right. That's it.
Without what? Medication.
Medication.
How about that?
That's a wonderful thing.
How about that? Listen, you know, once again, everyone, you know, because I know we're running out of time. I hear my phone beeping in the background. This is Dr. Sharmi Pratt. Okay, she's a life coach. She helps people with behavioral illnesses, mental health illnesses. I mean, they come in so. I mean, they have so many different names.
Right.
Okay, so many different names. All right, but the thing is, you know, if you're hearing me today and you know someone, okay, that's out here that can use, that needs help, plain and simple, that needs help. Listen, SharmiPratt.com, Sharmi
Mhm.
L. Pratt. You know, they got safe rooms where you can go and just speak out. Tell them what's ailing you. All right. Allow yourself to become comfortable with them so that they can help you. She has a book that's out. All right. Just the 8 steps to
Mental wealth.
mental wealth. You know, I was like, did she
Mental
say wealth? I saw that. I said,
wealth.
I like that. It's very catchy. 8 steps to mental wealth. You know, it's on Amazon.
Yeah.
You know, for those of you that feel as though you want to try to understand what's going on, that's one way to do it. Okay. But for the most part, listen, if you're troubled, please reach out.
Yes.
Please reach out. I mean, you know, we all see what's going on in the world. You know, let's work on, you know, just trying to heal it as opposed to hurt it. Okay. Once again, you know, I like to thank you for coming on and sharing your experiences and what you do with us. And listen, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate it. And like I said, I'll be ordering your book, and periodically I'll be showing the book, you know, on the podcast, because this problem is not going away. And
It's
I
not.
pray that you're very successful, and I hope that you know, call the VA, call the schools, get your services there. Let's help some people.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you. Otherwise, have a great night. God bless.
God bless.
All right. You take care.
145 over 92.
180 over 111.
182 over 100. And I had a heart attack and a cardiac arrest. And then a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a heart attack or stroke are far from invisible or silent.
My memory is shot.
When I woke up, I couldn't speak.
I can't button up a shirt. I can't run.
I've had to learn to swallow again.
That's the only moments that I have. And I'm 33, so I never see this coming.
If I would have followed a treatment plan, I would not be in this situation.
Had I done this, had I done that.
Hell, I messed up.
Get back on your plan, or talk with your doctor to create an exercise, diet, and medication plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Head to toe, everything's changed. Head to toe.
I have a very close personal friend in my life who has struggled for the past 4 years or so with extreme anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, and things like that. I kind of noticed something was different when they just kind of started acting a little bit strange, a little bit out of the ordinary. I didn't really think much of it because I didn't really think that anything was really happening, but there was one specific night where I remember I went over to their house and I noticed they had like dragged their mattress outside and were just like laying randomly, which is like not a normal thing to do. So I went outside and I sat with them. I just asked like, what's going on? Are you okay? What's happening? Like, this isn't normal. And that night was the night that they were actually like having extreme suicidal thoughts that night. I had no idea. I didn't know that they were feeling this way for so long, and they just kind of kept it bottled in. Asking them was definitely uncomfortable, especially because I didn't want to offend them in any way. I didn't want to make them feel like they weren't validated. That's a really big thing, I think. And it's an uncomfortable thing for sure, but it's something that needs to be done too. After I realized that there was something wrong, I talked to my friend's family and I made sure that they knew what was going on too by turning to their family and sharing it with them and other people that they love. It just became this like community almost, like a loving, supporting community that just wanted the best for my friend and just to get them the help that they needed. My friend to this day is so incredibly thankful they got the help that they need. Now they go to therapy, they have their medication. I try my best to just keep up with them, make sure that they know that I love them and that I'm here for them if they want to talk to me about it, and I just want to know and I want to learn and just be there for them. My piece of advice, if you're in my shoes and you have people around you, start acting differently or just like a little bit off, I feel like just keep your eyes open, be very aware, because a lot of times they just kind of bottle it in and you can't really tell until you really watch and you observe, and just make sure that the people that you do share it with are people that they trust and that love them and just want the best for them. That gut feeling that I had, it just kind of it was something you can't shake. I was just this weird thing where it just pushed me to go talk to them, and something that I just couldn't ignore. Honestly, if it weren't for that night, I really don't know what would have happened, so I just thank my lucky stars every single day that I was at the right place at the right time, and I said something.
What is it, Julia? Why are you so excited, honey? Hey, do you want to use your talker? With Julia's autism, using a talker can help her find the words she wants to say.
My dog.
You want to do something with Rose, Julia?
Play ball.
Do you want to play catch with Rose? I think Rose is excited to play catch too. Oh, Julia, you show us so many different ways to talk together. And play. Good catch, Rose. Okay, give Julia the ball. There you go. Okay, throw the ball, Julia. Oh.
For Julia's family, early screening for autism made a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
Okay, Julia, there you go. Oh, another good throw. That's the way.